That's what you love me to.
Whatever.
Stand to the pledge of allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to a meeting of the Stamford Selectboard. If you have a matter to discuss that is not included on the agenda, you may do so by addressing the chairperson and stating your name and address. You'll notice that all our meetings are recorded, and this is to aid with the summarization of the minutes. Visitors are welcome, and we allow 5 minutes of comments per visitor and 15 minutes per topic. Discussions will be held in a calm and civilized manner and respectful of others. Select board members present are Nancy Bashida.
Doug Wright.
Will there be any adding of items or removing of items from tonight's agenda? Laura, you've got
I
stuff to
have
add.
additional correspondence.
Okay.
You want me to make some more copies?
I passed them around. And there's more
No, I
than.
think we're good.
Okay. Will there be any adjustments to the agenda, such as changing the order of items? No, we'll keep it like it is. And Jeb is recording tonight's meeting for his YouTube video. All right, hearing of visitors.
I'd like to start there.
Jim.
Jim Simpson, Bellows Road, Stamford. I want to bring up the denial of the permit for the sign out front.
Okay.
I did some research, and I've notified some of you guys already, and we and the planning commission have done extensive research. I'm not saying that we're here as a planning commission, we're here as wanting you guys to be informed of the actual law. There is no law on our books, or even on the state books, that refer to a setback on signs.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
Okay, wait a minute,
Hang
hold
on,
on, just
hang on.
Jim's talking, wait a minute.
what it says, it refers to, the state refers to as long as the sign is not in the right of way of the state, okay? Footage is not mentioned as far as that goes. In our bylaws, it's not mentioned anywhere. Could be an oversight by us when we were doing it. There was nowhere in the sign. But keep in mind, people who want to put up signs, businesses and things like that, have to go to the planning commission first anyways for a plan. In which, at that time, guidelines would be put on. When I said months ago that the municipality is exempt in this situation, I meant it. It's true. We were then, we found out when we are, I'm gonna let you talk about that, but what I am saying is that our bylaws were written, and I think some people here that were here during that period of time, as far as the sign goes, it was mentioned when we were doing the bylaws, that it was for signs for people that have home businesses. If they wanted to put a sign out, we would, make sure that they're the 12 square feet. And there was no mention of setbacks, right? The setbacks is for construction, for buildings. It's if we didn't write it in the bylaws, then it has to fall into the state guidelines. The state guidelines, it says, stay out of the right of way of the state highways. Municipalities are exempt if we don't have a bylaw, an active bylaw for that. Which I'm saying, we don't, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have a bylaw that exempts, or that does not exempt the town. I don't think we do. I think the current bylaw was written specifically for residential zones. And back that up, if you go into our bylaws, you'll see that under every district, it's mentioned. Signage, residential, rural, and forest. If it meant, you know, for business, there would have been something there for conditional use. It's not. So what I'm saying, in my opinion, take it for what it is. Look, you've seen the laws, you understand the laws now. The setback end of it is out of, there's no 50 feet on the sign, period.
So you're saying that from what I'm getting, you're saying is maybe that when you redo the bylaws, you may have to put something in there that says the sign setback and dimensions are for business, residential, municipalities, and whatever else you want exempt.
Yeah, I think we would have to create some language, where I've got some keys that we're gonna have to go by, but we have to create language to where, first off, we wouldn't set those standards, we'd leave it up to the planning commission and a site plan. I think that's probably the language we do for business. But, in my opinion, this, because of the fact the way our bylaws are read, and I know what VLCT had mentioned, and I read it, and I do believe that we would win that in court, by all means. But we don't have to, because we're only worried about the setbacks, because the sign is the sign. The state signs, it says 64 feet, so I think we better fix our guide, 64 square feet.
That's
So I think we should probably, well, as everybody knows, there's no billboards in Vermont.
fine.
So that was the reason for all that. But municipalities, now keep in mind, this law that I'm referring to, that you guys are aware of now, was written, it's the same one that Dave Tatro abides by when putting up street signs. It falls under the same, if you read it, it falls under that same thing. Stop signs, street signs, all of that. It falls under that same chapter and section. So, again, that's their right of way, so they can put the signs right on the road. But they do refer to municipalities and so on, that they can't be in the right of way of the road, certain things, in this particular case. So I'm gonna leave it to.
So what you said and sent in, I don't know, late spring or whatever, just kind of verified what I've been thinking for a long time, for years, that municipalities should be exempt for such things.
Exactly.
Not according to the attorney, sorry.
That's my next phase.
Yes.
So why did our attorney, who we spent a decent amount of money on, not know this?
And the
That's
VLCT.
the way I've.
Well, you give attorneys information, they, you know, supposedly they're supposed to do the research on it. But according to our law, I would agree that one could say exactly what the attorney here, VLCT is saying. I can see where that they would say that, but I know what we were doing for 2 years sitting in that room. And the discussion was all about houses, home business and stuff like that. Because we knew that there would be a site plan and the planning commission would be setting the standards.
Right.
Not us, not in the residential district. We can't set a standard alone for that. At the planning commission, it has to have a site plan. It's gotta fit that purpose.
So I'm in favor of all the exemptions, and I disagreed with the attorney at the time. I will disagree today. But there's new light brought up today. The new light that was brought up today, and I didn't see it myself, is we don't have a written bylaw on setback. So if we go back to the state right away, 25 foot, that's what we just mentioned, and I did see that right away, not setback, but right away. Where the sign was, the second sign was, and now this new sign we want to be. I don't even see why we have to go to the zone board now. We should not be denied. Seriously.
So the denial, if I understand, the denial was for setbacks. Am I correct that?
On this particular one, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
The
yes,
first one
that's
was-
nil and
Second
void.
one, yeah.
Would you agree that it's nil and void based on the law that you've
Well,
got now?
I did call Jean because I felt that the decision that was made at the time was based on the 50-foot setback, and it was from the attorneys, from the VLCT.
Sure.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I was 3 months into the job, I wanted to dot every I, cross every T. So my information was gleaned from the authorities,
Sure.
which I'm supposed to do. They're the ones that told me specifically, if there is not an ordinance in your bylaws that exempts municipalities, then you must follow your bylaws. So the bylaws, residential, 50 feet. Now, looking back on it, it does say 50-foot front yard, which designates, if you really, you have to dig into it and you have to really go down the rabbit hole, but 50 foot from a building. So a sign is a structure technically, but it's not a building. So where does that sign fall?
Are you telling me that, you're telling me that a sign,
Okay.
it's my 5 minutes, I mean.
Well, I don't wanna argue back and
No,
forth.
I'm
Okay.
just saying,
Okay.
that right there, the attorney would have made that decision, right? And so if the attorney read the regulations, the attorney would have known that it's 50 feet for a building, not for a sign.
Okay, Bill Levine?
Based on this understanding of the law, is it out of line to ask the ZBA to reconsider their decision on the original sign?
Well, we have 2 violations there, size limit too.
Not related. If municipal signs are exempt, it's
Well,
not.
I thought you mentioned the omission of the setback versus the.
Nothing to do with the setback.
Versus the bylaws of the size. And I don't know, with this exemption part of it, Bill, I believe that it's exempt. Jim believes it's exempt, but the attorney apparently didn't. So there's a tit for tat here. I agree with you. I think we should be able to go back and say, we'll put up this sign, you know?
If our planning board had an interpretation and researched what the law is, and we find that the ZBA was in error of trying to enforce a local bylaw that doesn't apply, then their decision should be reversed and the sign should be restored.
I was
But
just
it's
gonna say,
not
I was
in
just
our-
gonna say, before Bill spoke, that you guys all see the new dilemma coming, right, in the sign wars.
Yeah,
So Bill
Okay.
just touched base on what the new dilemma is in the
Yeah.
sign wars, right? So
but it's,
he's absolutely right. I mean,
I
we
Right.
had a sign that was perfectly legal,
Right.
and we took it down.
I think the ZBA and the AO went by what was written in our bylaws.
Yeah, but based on what we know now.
What we
today,
know now, so I don't think we can do
I
that.
personally
there's no
I
sign.
personally think that the ZBA and the boards relied, and she just mentioned, she followed the authorities and the experts. We weren't sure. We voted to go to an attorney. The attorney says this, and geez, I'll tell you, if an attorney told me that, I'd be a little nervous too, especially if I'm the ZBA saying, hey, this is what the attorney said, and then VCLP or whatever the heck,
My vote
No,
part.
they said the same thing. I disagreed with them then, I disagree with them now, but now I'm looking saying, at the very least, which I still would like the new sign, and that's just a personal opinion now, for the reason is this war you just said would be over. The new sign's gonna make more sense because you see it in both directions. I love the other side, it's a beautiful sign, but I didn't think it was exactly perfect. But nevertheless, without that setback, I think we could go forward at least on this sign that we have now. The other one, I'm not sure of yet.
What I came to talk to you about to begin with regarding the sign was the possibility that unless somebody had really strong negative opinions, I would like to ask the school board if they would allow that sign to be placed on the wall behind the generator on the front of the school. It'll display it well. There's nothing but a big blank gray space.
And I was also, when I read those laws, I interpreted this, and that's the problem, is interpretation is awful. We can go all the way to Supreme Court, and I guess then that's over. But the interpretation of a sign on a building, there is nothing. So we can put that would be awesome
Yeah,
to
that's a
put that
good
there.
idea.
And we have several $100s left in the grant funding, the community funding, to pay for us putting it there.
Right. And I don't think, I think bring the school in out of respect is one thing, but I don't think we have to ask permission.
I don't think either,
But
but I don't want to get involved in
a joint
who
thing.
controls what.
Right.
Lisa had the question.
Okay,
That's no brainer.
I just want to say the 50 feet comes from the letter that you sent to the lawyer. I think the two of you wrote the letter. to the lawyer.
Right, but
So I think the lawyer's just going on trusting that you said that we had 4.4 was a 50-foot setback.
understandable.
And it was.
So one of the,
But he should have went and asked for the bylaws.
one of the
But
reasons.
nevertheless, you're right, but he is an attorney, he should have said, look,
Yeah,
here's
the
the-
bylaws.
One of the reasons I voted to go for a lawyer to begin with is because I've always been under the mindset that municipalities should be exempt from such things. And I thought it was an open and shut case for him. I didn't think it was gonna be.
Yeah, you wanted to
An
go to
argument in the
order.
other direction.
Right, exactly.
I just wanted it to nail the case shut and be done with the whole sign.
Well, whatever's happening, the zoning board of adjustment will meet on Tuesday, November 12th. It's already advertised, it's in the paper, you gotta go forward with it.
I intend to ask the school board this coming Tuesday.
So you feel that this,
Wait, Lisa,
Lisa, I just want to say that we do have a 12 square foot bylaw still in place because under sign law, it says residential or any other building, so we are still constrained to the 12 square feet.
That, I have no problem with that.
for the sign, if you put it on the building, that
No,
sign.
I'm not talking about Bill's talk, I'm going back to.
The third
what you
sign,
said.
right,
yeah, the new sign.
So,
Yeah,
John's
that's,
sign.
it's 12 square
so
feet.
there's no square foot violation.
but,
Which is,
so we're not exempt, I disagree, Jim and I disagree, we've talked for
Yeah.
hours on this, and we disagree with one another. But I don't see that's 474, I think it is.
Yeah,
I don't think that exempts us as a town. I think we need to make,
Ordinance.
yes, we need to rewrite the bylaw, and I think, taking both opinions, I think we need to have another sign, because I think the can of worms you're talking about, if you put up John, no offense to John, this person, he took down the sign, John designed the new sign, John puts up the new sign, you're gonna have the same situation in town for a third time.
see, John brought it, I don't think John designed the sign, I think he just came with some samples that the board voted on.
Yeah, you guys kind of
Yeah,
changed.
which never happened with the other sign.
and I assisted
Yes.
John, so I'll take that.
Never did that design come in front of us. No,
Not that exact,
Absolutely
not
not.
what they put out there, but there
Absolutely
was
not.
one similar to it.
I mean,
With
it-
the Davian.
All this is great, but that is,
Yeah.
that is the can.
Yeah, so this
The
is,
can is open.
so anyway, Tuesday, November 12th,
Let someone else design it.
Yeah.
If
I'm just saying, you
Well,
can
we're
see
gonna be
exactly.
rewriting the bylaw.
Through the chair, yeah.
Fit it.
Would you agree now that the setbacks are not an issue now? None?
can we move on?
Oh, I'm sorry, through the chair to Deb.
Yeah, okay.
Will that, now that you know what you know now, would you,
It's,
is it still
It's-
denied because of setbacks? 'Cause that's the only reason.
that was my question, that's why I called Jean today, because of this very reason. Do we not go forward with the ZBA? She has asked that we still go through. She says, let it be, let us meet, we will all determine as a group.
Who's Jean?
Jean Kirkpatrick,
Yeah, I say,
chairman.
Chair of the
I
ZBA.
say we waited this long, let's go another month.
I
Do it
would
in the
not,
spring if we got it, let's do it
no,
right and
I
don't
mean,
worry
to
about
answer
it, you
your
know?
question, yeah, after looking more deeply into it now, yeah, I would have to say, if we weren't all just under this assumption that it was a 50-foot setback for a
Right.
sign, which we all were, it would be open to interpretation and I would have the authority to approve it. So, yeah, but I wish we could come to a different agreement on certain things on how to identify the school. I mean, we're gonna have to I'm not crazy with a 12 square foot sign. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think it's too puny. I think as a board, you have the authority to, in the beginning, you could have done something about the original sign.
I do too, but then we went through the process and we were denied.
Exactly.
So if we go through the process
You
again
didn't-
and
but-
say we
but
want a
you
bigger
didn't
sign,
have to go through the process. You asked me, would I have denied it if I was the AO that verbally approved it? And I said, yeah, I would have had to deny it, so it would have gone through the proper
but
process.
right now you would still deny it over size.
Oversized.
That's what I'm saying, so you just said
Right.
12 square foot's too small, so we can't,
You
Go
can,
back.
as a board, and we could wait until the spring, we could wait until the summer, and an ordinance can be in place.
okay, so you're adding an ordinance, you're not saying today.
No, it can't happen.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, I just understood.
Can't- I'm
Okay,
sorry,
yeah.
can't happen today.
I thought you
I
meant
just,
we can do it right
my
now.
thought is, we're going into the winter, what's the hurry? Get that sign up
Well,
on the building.
By November,
This
something
time.
after this is done, and if they say yes, it could be snow around, we don't know, so I mean.
I don't know that I agree with that it should be, that the size isn't included in the exemption. Why,
It is.
Hey.
why
Well, I don't think we're gonna solve this tonight, so.
Yeah, just saying.
I
let's
mean,
move
we're
on.
talking about it, but I just don't think, I
Well,
don't
it says
know.
any sign other than residential.
I agree with that, there should be some upper limits and maybe lower limits of signage.
It just
But
doesn't say.
I agree
If
with
you're
Jim, I
exempt,
think
you're-
that
if
was
you're
written
exempt,
because of
you're
business, not
Right, but it
municipality.
doesn't say that in the
Oh, I
bylaw,
know.
all it says is not, anything that's not residential, 12 square feet.
And that's
Yeah.
basically where I was when I said the fact that this is something that we need to take up as a planning commission and
Yeah.
spell it out.
But
because it
I've
needs to.
spoken to the Department of Transportation, I've spoken to lawyers at VLCT, and we can only go by what the state,
Right.
you think is the exempts us if we didn't have a bylaw. We do have a bylaw.
Okay, any other visitors, questions?
One more thing on this,
Oh,
I'm not gonna talk about the sign ever again. That's a
Said
lot.
that like 8 months ago.
Big lie.
I would like to
Yeah.
recommend, and this is, I know the select board has talked about this until they're blue in the face. I would recommend that your next planning board, you actually, you all have the information that you feel you have. Bring it up, make a motion, stop kicking it down the road and change that ordinance.
We're working on it.
That's the best that you guys,
Don't
it's
you need
your
a
board.
town meeting for that?
No,
Not for your ordinance?
no,
No.
they
Okay.
approve
You can amend
it,
it.
then we
Then you
approve,
guys approve it.
Yep.
and then it
There
has
you
to
go.
wait
That's
60
what we do.
days.
Amend it.
60 days.
No,
Yeah.
public hearing.
Yeah, so anybody that wants to
It
come.
still
And that
has to
would
be
be-
warned though.
Yes.
Okay, that's,
And
I
then
guess
after-
that's what I meant, yeah.
Lori, after it's approved by select board, then you have 60 days.
There's a waiting period to make sure it's not.
Anybody
Petition
can
against
contest,
it.
contest. Okay.
I mean, it's already on the agenda, we just haven't had it yet, it's on for us.
No, that's
Sounds like
fine, I'm
nobody's
just
gonna
saying,
contest it.
I think that it's been talked, I think we got as much information as could come out now.
Honey.
But never know. Never know.
Okay,
Maybe sign from above.
Reading and approval of records and orders, regular minutes of October 3rd and the emergency meeting of October 15th.
I don't see that on here.
Saw that, I didn't,
Oh.
I haven't
Oh,
finalized it.
you haven't finalized.
Motion on October 3rd. Accept.
Second.
All in favor?
You wanna wait on the other one, right?
You wanna wait on the other one?
Yeah, because nobody has seen it,
Oh,
except you,
okay. It looks fine.
just for typo.
Road conditions. Dave called today and he said that the roof on the town garage is done. That will be paid for from the ARPA fund. The Freightliner is back in service, back here. The trees on top of the lane should be done tomorrow morning, and I came by tonight and there's 2 vehicles up there now ready to.
Ready to go.
The wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Here earlier
Jack,
today.
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was all Dave had on road condition. Anything on recycling?
Can I just ask a question on the building, the town garage?
Yep.
Do we have any plans to paint it?
No, I haven't heard of anything like that.
Okay. Is that something we could talk about? It's in pretty good shape.
You can ask Dave and
Yeah,
that,
I'm sure you guys have all seen
Seen
it.
it?
yeah,
I just think it would preserve, help.
10 buildings they get scratched and rusted.
Yeah, so it would be something to prolong the life, right? Yeah, a little bit of prevention.
and I think, I haven't heard if the doors were in yet, but, Dave is working on getting some new panels on the garage doors, because the bottom panels are rusted out, so he's working on that. Okay, recycling. Discussion, review and revised highway ordinance. I don't think Lori had time to do that, it was crazy. But then again, what Jim said, when you were talking about bylaws, Dave, Lori, and I were reviewing them the other day. And we were looking at the highway ordinance and said, why is this in here? What were they thinking of at that time? Why did they put this language in here? So you see what happens with the sign, nobody thought about a municipal sign setback.
For the highway ordinance?
Yeah, well, we were doing the highway ordinance and we said, why is this part in here, something about the highway and,
I think they're written in the 80s.
yeah, and they were, got reviewed in the 12 and,
Review, check.
yeah,
This
that's what
sign
it
thing
was.
would never have came up if we didn't change this up. It
That's
would have been there forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trying to, that committee was trying to do something nice,
Mhm.
you know, and it, like you said, it was a nice sign. They were trying to do something nice and it backfired. It would have never came up, you know, that's my opinion. I mean, that's why when you know, like you said, we looked at it 100 times, we didn't see that it didn't have a setback, you know. Takes, you know, it is what it is.
And that's why it's
But
recommended
it's, that's why you look at it
to
around.
review our ordinances
Yeah.
every so many years to bring them up to date, that what
Yeah.
happened 5 years ago is not pertinent.
Actually, in that same, law that you're just referred to with the Department of Transportation, there's, language in there for all municipal buildings to be marked by signage in a town.
Right, you have to.
Has,
Yep.
yes, fire.
I saw that too.
Top garage.
Highway department, garage,
Mhm.
whatever. It's all under that same category,
Informational,
but
directional, all that stuff.
All the other signs would probably be fine. There was something real special about this, so.
It was.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's all we have under discussion, we can bring it up next meeting, Lori will have the highway the revisions to the highway ordinance, there were just minor things in there, we wanted to add something about the definition of the trail. I think that was why we were starting this, and there was a couple other road name changes, like it says Old County Road, and now it's Brownbrook Road. Correspondence, errors and omissions certificate, Lori.
So, they didn't realize when they finalized the grand list, the Stamford Volunteer Fire Department's value was increased, but the exemption wasn't increased, so it wound up with almost 300,000 taxable value. So that error was caught.
We could use that money to pay for the fire truck.
So there's an errors and omissions certificate that needs to be signed just to,
This is for the Lister grand list,
Yeah,
for our grand
for
list.
2020
Yeah.
grand list.
Okay.
So I'll do on the right-hand side.
Mhm.
Because the exemption was made to match the value, and when they got the value, they didn't increase the exemptions.
Thank you, Deb.
Just today.
Got those
Just
copies,
for
yep.
review and sign on the top, or initial on the top.
Do you have any reason to want to keep a file with those copies, or is this just for review and? I mean, the originals are in the drawer, copies are in the files. Do you want to have a separate select board file copy, or once you see them, you're good to go?
I think I'm good, you have the copies here, they're recorded. if anyone wants to go back and look at them, they're all recorded in the land record, so.
Planning Commission also now has a file.
Yeah,
So
I know
they-
they've been wanting
Yep.
that for
So you
years.
guys, we're just, you have a little, it's on, I'll show you afterwards. But you have a, what do you call
Basket?
it?
Just
That's
a
kind of like a
little
little
file
basket,
basket,
yeah,
has the planning
for,
commission stuff. That will
Permits that come through.
So if you wanna, grab those permits and.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'd love to see them on our website. A lot of towns do have that, but scan them in.
Do you want them on the website too, or are you just content to?
I'll give them back to her.
Any comments, guys?
I have no problem if somebody wants to put them on the website. That's more work for somebody, but
More work.
no skin off my.
Okay, well, no,
Right, I
I'm
think it would
just-
be, I mean, it's not a bad idea, but whatever.
I
I'll
don't
add work to
care,
somebody.
it's just making copies for people to throw away, you know, when you can see them on our website, that's all.
Save the trees.
Not necessarily, trust me, we
I
have a
think
lot
we're
of
gonna wanna
trees.
see them anyway, so I'll be doing copies and.
I didn't sign whatever that is yet.
Oh, you didn't, I thought I saw your name on there.
Did I?
Oh, Kirk, oh.
Check it out.
Okay, old business. I have some more correspondence. Oh, okay.
The fire truck commercial loan, I've completed the application. There are numerous places where you as a board need to sign, or just Nancy needs to sign. There is one spot where the signatory has to provide a bit more information than everyone else. One of the things that the bank wants is a formal motion from the board designating one of you to be the signatory for the loan and then the closing documents. So for the application and all the loan documents that would be needed.
Motion to make Nancy Pacheco designated signer.
Second.
We're on a fire truck now.
See how fast I do that?
Was that carpet in her front yard?
Kurt seconded it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Your house is collateral.
Yeah, personal
My house, I'm
guarantees,
not worried about everything that I
yeah. No, she might as well, right? Go ahead. You signed over a couple million so far. so you can inherit.
Okay, so, 1, 2, 3, 4, someone gets to be on the bottom, and then on the back, Nancy, you. In this one, we're gonna want weird information that if you just wanna wait till tomorrow to sign and fill
Yeah.
out, or if you wanna do it.
Yeah, I don't have my license number.
So yours done with that, yeah.
When does the truck come?
Well, broadly as an aside, I was gonna say the loan has been approved. This is the documentation to
No,
support
she's
it.
at 4 and then,
The expectation is the truck will be at the dealer's site by Thanksgiving. And that we should have possession the first week of December.
All lettered up and everything, or not yet?
Yeah, whatever, it's within the, lettering is in the specs for the truck,
Okay.
best I understood.
Hopefully they spell Stamford correctly.
How-
happen?
They never failed before, so
Right.
you hate to give them back the door and ask them to reletter.
Lori, this is the, errors and omissions certificate.
That'd be the day your house would be on fire, right?
Something interesting we found while we were dealing with insurance, because all of the truck renewal and the building renewal insurance has come up for the beginning of the year. And they have a reference to the trucks being insured for modified actual cash value. It's not, and there's no definition.
It used to be full, right?
So I called the LTT to find out what this modified means. In the event that we lose a vehicle entirely, or David does, they will replace it with like vehicle. best they can, age, condition, etc. In the event that there is nothing available to replace it with, they will replace it with a new one.
Okay.
Just so we know terms that they listed 4 or 5 different terms that then showed up on the schedule, but the one that they cited for our trucks was not one of the terms that they defined.
Total, like,
So in keeping with that theme, I wanted to review your totals for the insurance policy renewing for 2025. They have the compactor for $8,308. They have the town garage property value at $562,432 with a contents value of $70,400. Our dog kennel, $4,900. Our salt shed, $127,300. And, just the contents of the town office, $35,000.
What were they last year? Are they the same, increased?
They are all up by, it's all changed, it's all online, and you can't see papers like you used to before, and I didn't pull them.
They have an automatic inflation
They usually
percentage
go up just
that
a
they
little
have
bit.
applied because we found suddenly the firehouse was covered for $725,000. Which wasn't what we set it for, but it's what they have incremented over the last few years. 2% there, 2%, 3% there. And of course, if you go out and look at building supplies or the cost of a house,
And the LCT has set these prices,
Right,
so they're taking into account inflation, and
yeah.
they know what we have here.
So-
And our equipment, oh well, our trucks are different. Go for it, do we need a motion?
so the trucks are different, right, that's
Yeah.
70,000, I could say.
Yeah.
There's a, yeah, a whole different listing of all the vehicles.
I mean,
Second?
Second.
All in favor, go with it, Laura.
Our passive grant, Dave and I put in for an eye wash station at the garage. It was one of the recommendations when the passive guy came through that we have one. They kicked it back and said, it's not enough, you need to put in at least $400 worth of stuff. So then we went and submitted another one for an exit sign and some other things he had on his list. And again, the eye wash station didn't come with the eye wash that you need for it. So now we'd like to submit for a third run. And maybe this time they'll accept it and be happy with it. So Nancy, if you wanna sign right there, it's now $621, so it's a 50-50. So we pay
Probably
half.
spent that much doing the
Yeah.
3.
No. Go figure.
Okay, eye wash, lighting room, oh yeah, we do need the stuff for
The stuff to put in it, so it won't fly without the stuff.
Yep.
So,
that.
there you go.
And that's working on Dave's list too, on the recommendations that the LCT said we should be.
Right,
Right,
that's
safety.
bringing them more into compliance with insurance.
Okay, old business, dogs, I talked to Luke this afternoon. One of the 4 dogs died.
Yep.
And we have 2 owners. The 3 dogs,
One came in late this afternoon.
good. So now we just have 2 dogs with a vet appointment.
Yes.
And Luke did confirm with the vet that he does have an appointment, so.
Yeah.
We're almost the end of the year.
Almost. You always start over again.
Yeah.
Start over.
And, Lori, anyone take advantage of the DV fiber grant that, for, low income?
I have had a resident ask for an application.
Okay, good.
No, hasn't come back yet.
Didn't we put on there that it has to be back to us by a certain date?
I want to say December 1st.
That's what I was thinking too.
When it comes back, Lori, let me know, because DV Fiber has 2 fellows who have gone out to evaluate those kind of requests.
Okay. I think it's gotta come before select board executive session. Did we say we were gonna review it as they came in?
And that's just for the installation.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I think it could go for something else, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
to get, yeah. it's-
What were
it's
you
just for the
thinking of
DV.
beyond installation?
Oh, assistance with monthly,
No.
No,
okay,
No.
that was my.
No, it's installation including if, and we considered that if beyond conduit that was running,
Right, because
if there was
most of
the
it's.
additional $175 flat charge
Right.
that they make for, locating it further away in the house from the entrance point.
okay, any other old business that you can think of?
I'd like to talk about this sign.
No more. You said no more.
Yeah, that is old.
I don't know why I do it, I don't.
Now you know we're gonna talk.
It's gonna end up on your register.
All right, no.
All right, new business.
He wants a sign for his gravestone.
New business, wanna talk?
It's like a parking spot for the select board. And when we come here during the day, we don't get yelled at because we're parked out there.
You know what
They yell
we should
again.
put out there? It's just something that says, here's your sign.
Here's your sign, get it done.
I have something for new business.
Oh,
The flowers where the sign used to be,
Yeah.
they're kind of, at some point, somebody's gonna have to cut them and get them ready for the winter. I don't know if the lawn guy, is that something he can do? If he's done for a year. And then the bushes in front of the school here, they seem to be kind of high. Especially over like where, I remember like, what was it, first grade classroom was? You can't even see the windows anymore, the bushes are above the windows. Is that something we can have evaluated? And take
I would
care
like
of?
to know, can our janitor do these type of things?
Used to be.
Janitor or a maintenance man.
Well,
Oh,
I guess
back to the
at one time-
job description.
I haven't lived here that long, but I mean, I remember janitors doing more than just sweeping
Yeah.
floors.
That's a different person who did
Yeah.
twice the amount of work that he was contracted for
Well, I'm
on a
just saying,
volunteer basis.
I'm not from up here, I was from Clarksburg, and I remember the same thing in Clarksburg. Phil Fawcett was a janitor, and he mowed the lawn, and he cut the bushes and all that, but I guess that you could throw it back and say to the school, hey, can you do this? I mean,
Well, I think the flowers made it through last winter.
I
don't think
guarantee that
anything's
Dan's
gotta be
gonna say,
done.
yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
it.
if you're gonna
About
die,
that.
just fall on the ground and they're
Yeah.
just gonna be
If
there.
they're perennials, I don't know what's there, they should, probably should be trimmed
Yeah,
back.
just come back, they'll grow back next year.
Yeah.
Anybody know how to do that?
Weed whacker.
Just take a bunch of.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we
I'm
just
complaining, I mean, why can't the janitor do some of
come back
this?
every year.
Why can't the janitor do some of this stuff? I mean,
It
I'm
might
right
take a
there.
half hour.
But then again, I'm getting deja vu all over again because we're like talking about the janitor's job description again.
Yeah, I,
You know, like, I don't know what it is, but some of these things should be just,
this is.
done, whether they're in a
I
description
hate
or
to-
not, I mean.
Yeah, I hate to bring this up, but just like you said, there was men that worked here, people that worked here, that went above and beyond the call of duty, right? So I guess you would call that volunteering, right?
It was.
So I'm a selectman, can I come down and cut that tomorrow? Or do we have to worry about insurance?
Yeah, right.
So am I covered as a select board member under the insurance? I mean, if I do something right now, I get up and I trip and knock you over and, I mean, is it, our town covers that stuff. Why can't I come down tomorrow and go, there, it's done? You know, this drives me nuts of this worrying so much about, you know, being sued, and liability and all. And I know it's a real thing in the world, but it shouldn't be. We should be able to volunteer our time. Martin just said, hey, painting party. Oh, heaven forbid, we get up on a ladder and go paint that building, but why not?
That's why none of the.
I'll sign a damn waiver that says if I hurt myself or anyone else, I'm liable. I'll sign it.
A waiver is a good idea.
You know, geez, it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
You know,
Well, Pam planted them without signing a waiver.
exactly.
Why can't you go?
Well, she was on the committee that,
Yeah, but
I mean, you can cut them down, just don't. make it
Yeah,
your
she
way.
wasn't enforcing. Yeah, I don't know.
Mike,
or what, I don't
all you gotta do is get a committee for groundskeeping.
I guess here's my thing is, if I go cut them down, I want you to enforce whatever you have for a law to stop me. Go ahead, I'm cutting them down. So I go down there tomorrow, I start cutting them down. Who's gonna stop me?
Just
Right?
just
And who's
don't-
gonna sue me later? Oh, geez, you're taking me to court to cut down flowers? Okay.
Just don't pull your back out or cut yourself or anything.
I don't care, I'm not gonna sue the town. I'll never sue the town.
I hear you.
I mean,
I'd fall off the ladder up on the peak.
Exactly. I've been hurt.
Probably trying to get
I
back
got
up and do it
two
again.
plates in my neck, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You know?
It's just, it's something that's lost in all of it.
It
I
is,
guess. I mean,
it's a
if you're
damn
working in the
sad
building
thing.
and your, part of your job is to care about the
Oh.
building.
I guess it's routine.
I personally think you should ask the janitor or school, can he do that? Just because, like you said, it's, maybe they'll say, yeah, that's a great idea. If they don't, let me know. Now, at least do the flowers. I mean, I don't know about the bushes, I can come down with hedge trimmers.
No, I mean, it's just tall orange or yellow things, they just need to be cut down, next year they're gonna grow
Yeah.
back, but
Are they
in the
junipers?
meantime, you're gonna die and just land there, and then in the spring, they're gonna look like,
Can't put you.
Yeah.
not gonna be ivy.
Are they junipers? Watch you don't get juniper rash.
I don't know.
Again.
I don't
There's some
think
that
you're
look
a
pretty
Jennifer,
sick
yeah.
out, behind Casey's window out there, that look
And
pretty
then,
bad.
Yeah.
From
What are the
plowing
trees
and-
and bogs or?
But it's
covering the
not
sign.
you
Jeez.
go out, you water the flowers out front, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you water the flowers, there's an extension cord that comes down.
From the Christmas tree, that's
You
right.
know?
yeah.
I've been in my job for a long time now, I don't even know that I've ever read the job description.
No.
I just do whatever it
Do
takes to
everything
get through
that
the
looks like
day
you
and
need to
do
do,
what I
right.
need to do.
The boss tells you to do something else, tell me to get to that later.
My boss.
Anything else under new
I'm
business?
sorry, I don't know if we got an answer on that, but, yeah.
Okay, I have a motion to go into executive session for legal matters.
Hold on,
Oh,
I have a
Yeah.
question. You've had executive sessions for legal matters for 6 months,
yep,
at least the last 3 or 4?
yep.
When you resolve this legal matter, are you gonna let the public know what you've been doing?
It'll become part of the record.
yeah, and
It will become part of the,
they're not all the same legal matters too.
the two legal
Oh.
matters. But they will become part of the record in the open meeting.
Okay. Because so far, when you've left executive session, you've made no statement about whether you made a decision or whether it's continuing. There's nothing's been made public.
No, we have come out of the executive session back to regular meeting and said that we came out and no decision was made.
No decision.
We have done that every single
But
time.
when you make a decision,
We'll let you know.
Mhm.
okay.
So we're done.
Okay, that second emotion. I think it was a
Okay.
motion made to go.
Aye.